NoMoreStinkyMonkeys.com production. Tomorrow is December 1st and the start of Advent and the Christmas season. So I figured it was time to give my annual list of the top 10 TV Christmas specials of all time. So here goes. When you are ranking the best Christmas shows of all time, you always have to include some from the masters, Rankin and Bass. These two claymation geniuses, along with writer Romeo Mueller, raised the bar for Christmas specials back in the 60s and early 70s, and no one's been able to touch them since. I would love it if someone would make a special that even comes close to their brilliance, but it doesn't happen. Their best always combine four essential elements: great songs, good stories, tight scripts, and a fun time. The big guys are real bad, but never overwhelm the fun and spirit of the stories, and Rankin and Bass never rely on corniness. I do not include holiday episodes of regular TV shows, though, because they should have their own list. For the record, the early Happy Days episode, when Fonzie lies about visiting relatives, might be my favorite. You know, the one where he's opening a can of beans in the back of his garage. As for the specials I've picked, I love them all, own some of them, try to watch all of them at least once a year, and quote them with friends from time to time. So here goes, starting with number 10. House Without a Christmas Tree. It takes place during the Depression, I believe, or at least some poor time in the 20th century. Watched this made-for-TV movie every year when I was a kid, and then it disappeared. Definitely the most depressing show on this list, but has a wonderful ending. The 1972 movie stars Lisa Lucas as Addie Mills, a 10-year-old girl who lives with her very grumpy widower father, played by Jason Robards. Actually, he'd have to smile more than just be grumpy. He comes across as downright mean to a little kid. But he's just really sad and angry over the loss of his wife and doesn't know how to deal with it. So instead of making things better, he makes them worse by hiding away any happiness the woman left behind. Like her Christmas ornaments. Addie doesn't know they even exist and tries to make a nice Christmas by making handmade ornaments for a tree that she sneaks home. But mean old Jason Robards drags the tree out to the curb. First 3/4 of this film are hard to watch, but the last 30 minutes makes up for it. Not sure how I'd react to this movie if I saw it now. Don't remember any quotes. Number 9. Frosty's Winter Wonderland. Frosty is lonely up at the North Pole.
Excuse me.
And finally gets married to a snow woman named Crystal. Every one of the best of these Rankin and Bass specials,
Thank you.
welcome, has a great narrator, and this show might have the best, Andy Griffith. His voice is like warm honey, and he delivers this special with remarkable ease. Can't remember a favorite quote from this one either. Number 8, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again. Our nearsighted Broadway star portrays Scrooge on stage, and the story is told in the form of a Broadway show, with curtains and acts and all. It's a weird way to handle it, but it's still a treat. Favorite quote, as with any Christmas Carol? Are there no workhouses? Are there no prisoners? Very mean. Number 7, Rudolph's Shiny New Year. Rudolph hooks up with a caveman and a whale to find the baby New Year and save said year. One of my father's favorite comedians, Red Skelton, narrates it and does a number of voices in the show. I love the special, but don't remember as much of it as the others, except for my favorite part, when the baby sneaks into the Three Bears house. The baby bear is one of my favorite characters in TV history, as voiced by Mr. Skelton. With the cutest little lisp, he says my favorite quote, "You could be my friend." Number 6, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which is the t-shirt that I am wearing right now in honor of this show. Who better to play a despicable, scary creature like the Grinch than Boris Karloff? Just one of many inspired choices for this classic. So poetic, so letter-perfect, so dark. The story demands it, but this show is too dark to be any higher on my list. I feel bad for the little dog, too. Of course, it all comes out in the wash, but there's a lot of weight to carry before the beautiful payoff. My favorite quote, Cindy Lou Who, who's no more than 2. Number 5, Year Without a Santa Claus. Mickey Rooney does his second special as the voice of Santa Claus, but this time he's depressed and he tells his wife, "Ma, I'm canceling Christmas." But we don't see too much of Santa for this special anyway. The true stars are the immortal Heatmeister and Freezemeister. Their 2 songs are probably the most fun to sing of any of the shows on this list, and always cause some adults to dance a kick line. My favorite quote, "Vixen? Why, she's just a baby." Number 4, A Charlie Brown Christmas. According to Saturday Night Live, this is Jesus' favorite Christmas special, which figures because it's one of the few that actually pays homage to him and his birth, and not the paganism that we've attached to the holiday. It's the most beautiful of all Christmas specials, but so serious. The Vince Guaraldi music is so warm and classy that listening to it feels like watching snow fall from inside a window with a blanket and hot cocoa. My favorite quote, "Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown." Number 3, Frosty the Snowman. This show is so short that barely after the credits roll, the little girl, the magician's rabbit, and Frosty are already on their train to the North Pole. Jimmy Durante, a native of my hometown of Ridgewood, New York, is the narrator, and I love his croaky voice. Favorite quote, "And when I melt, I get all wishy-washy." Number 2, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This came out in 1964, 2 years before I was born, so obviously I don't remember a time when this wasn't on TV. The first of Rankin and Bass's Au revoir, and some would say the greatest. But I've always had a problem with the depiction of Santa as a grouch, and essentially a terrible user. He discards Rudolph until he can use his malady to his benefit, like using a deaf person's lip-reading skills to win a football game. The outsider that children wouldn't play with always resonated with me and made me feel a special kinship with Rudolph. This show has the best songs of any Christmas special. And my favorite quote, "Who ever heard of a skinny Santa?" Number 1. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. First time I saw this, I was probably 4, and I remember my parents got my brother, sister, and I bathed and dressed for bed before the show, so we could relax and watch it before we went to sleep. My father put us up on the top bunk of our bed, me and my brother's bunk beds, and propped the 13-inch black and white TV against the pillow so we could all watch it together. My favorite quote, "A yo-yo? I love a yo-yo." That's from the Burgermeister himself. So, have a very Merry Christmas, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from me more as the season rolls on. From the Freditor.